So now we're here in the master bedroom. And again, all the selections leading up to this point are up for debate, right? You could live in a market where you have just a ton of tenants needing spaces. It's got a low vacancy rate. And yes, you can get away with not having pool handles, not having new hinges, not changing the light fixtures. Here in Bell County, there is somewhat of a saturation in rental properties. So in order to beat the competition, I need to have something that looks more updated, more new. So these are selections that I've made based on evaluating the market, not simply because, oh, this is going to work everywhere. You have to do your market analysis, your due diligence. And that's what I've done here. And that's why I've come up with these selections. But moving on to the master, there's really not much to talk about. Everything that we talked about in the bedrooms is going to carry over to the master. You know, this fan actually looks great. I'm going to keep it. It looks new. So we'll keep that light fixture. But actually, I'll hit on one thing here since this is the only place I've seen it. Another thing that I like to invest in is good blinds. So I'm not going to put in those really thin aluminum or plastic blinds that just don't last. You're constantly having to replace them. It digs into your deposit. If you needed the deposit money from the tenant to use in other spaces, you can't because now you're replacing blinds. These are a lot more durable. They're not much more. I believe you're going to pay maybe like $40 for this versus $25 for the thin blinds. I'd rather invest the extra $15 and get something that's really going to last. Of course, the tenant, if he or she's really rough on these, yes, they'll break too, but they're pretty durable. So I will put in good blinds. Again, this is the master. This one took a little bit of thought because it's got this really funny step up. I don't like it. It's going to definitely get canceled. I would like to, just because this is the master. And it's not necessary, but it'll add value. I'm not 100% set on retaining this, but there's a chance that we do or we go in with new tile just to add value. The tub's still in really solid shape. I can refinish it, but the surround, we might potentially add new tile there. This is actually kind of a nicer fixture. We might save that, but we'll definitely put new plumbing here, new black plumbing. Obviously, we've already talked about all the countertops are going to be replaced. I will go in and put all new plumbing fixtures and refinish this vanity, but I'm not really doing much to change the general layout of this, the layout of the bathroom or anything else. Just the only thing that's up for debate here is whether or not we go in and change the backsplash, or not the backsplash, but the surround for the tub. For sure, we will demo these steps. So obviously one thing to note is with having the bathroom butt up next to the new bathroom that we're going to add into this house, this must have been the original window. And I guess they used just some film to kind of close it off, but we're going to have to cancel it all the way. Because I mean, it's just, we don't want a window looking into another living area. So that'll be canceled. So one thing that kind of annoys me, especially when you're getting your information on the internet and you find these gurus like Robert Kiyosaki or Grant Cardone, which, you know, don't get me wrong, they're super successful, but a lot of them like to push a one size fits all approach and tell you like, hey, this is what you need to do. If you try any other approach, you're going to fail. And I know, at least from some sources, they're going to tell you, you know, single families, they're awful to invest in. They're hard to scale because they're in different locations and this and that. And what I'm here to tell you is that it depends on the market. It depends on the area that you're in. And some of the suggestions that I'm giving you, just as like what I talked about, you know, would you change fixtures? Would you change hinges? Would you change knobs? Again, it just depends on the market, and it's kind of up to you to do that due diligence. So another like very specific thing to this house, because I'm going to go like my end strategy, like beginning with the end in mind, is I'm going to turn this into a Section 8 rental. So with that in mind, what I want is to eliminate any type of potential for destruction. And fireplaces, I don't know the statistic, but fireplaces are a fire hazard. I'd love to look up how many houses burn down a year from a fireplace. But again, this is specific to my strategy. It's specific to, I'm going to go rent this house through Section 8. And so I want to make this house as durable and as safe as possible. On top of that, part of my strategy is saving a lot of money with insurance, which some people might disagree with. But insurance has gotten so expensive that without shopping and getting really cheap insurance, which insurance is a lot of times you get what you pay for, I'm not able to cash flow, and I need to cash flow. That's part of my strategy. So I need to kind of self-insure in a way. So what I'll do is I will cancel this. I'm not going to cancel in a way that it can't be if in the future I'd like to sell my home or to sell this specific house, but I will make it to where the fireplace can't be used by the tenant. And typically what I'll do is put a cover on it and close it off with some bolts and maybe put a veneer on it so it looks natural, it still looks nice. And then in the lease agreement, I'll let the tenant know that, hey, you're in violation of the lease if you try to use the fireplace, which they shouldn't really bother with trying to access. But again, the reason why I'm still doing single family homes, which you could think, oh, that's not the right way. Doesn't make sense. It's hard to scale. Well, I'm at 50 units now, and most of my portfolio is single family homes. But the beauty about single family homes is liquidity. Real estate is not a very liquid asset, but I will tell you one thing. It's a lot easier to sell a single family home, especially if it's been updated, versus trying to sell a 30 unit apartment complex. Single family homes typically, they are targeted by investors, but typically majority of the market is going to be families looking to occupy them. So if at any point, let's say 5 to 10 years down the road, I want to sell this asset and park that money into another investment, I can go in and again, update the flooring, paint, potentially put in new cabinets and bring it up to market standards and sell it for a premium. I'm not having to target an investor who's going to just simply look at this as, okay, what's my cash flow going to be? And so again, there's strategy and there's not a one size fits all approach. And again, it's about doing your own due diligence, looking at the market that you're wanting to invest in, and take information from other people that are successful, but don't go in with the mindset of, oh, I need to do exactly what Julio is doing or what, someone like Grant Cardone is doing in order to be successful. So now we're in the kitchen. This is the last area or room in the house that I'll talk about. This, along with the bathrooms, is going to bring in the most value. And again, I'm focusing on my end strategy, and that's to turn this house into a rental. So I'm not going to demo and do a tear down. I will make this more visually appealing and cleaner. And by doing that, it's typically what I do with most of my rentals. I will change out the countertops. We're going to put in some granite countertops. You could either do a 2 cm or a 4 cm granite countertop, just depending on the area. I might go in with a thicker countertop here. It's really not that big of a price difference, maybe like $500 for this amount of surface area. But so we'll do that. That's going to come with a new sink. We'll change the plumbing fixtures. I'm going to look at the condition of the appliances as well. So the fridge is in excellent shape. It's actually much nicer than what you're going to typically find in a standard rental. I'm going to keep it. It's stainless steel. I like stainless steel. It's kind of what I typically try to go for. The microwave, it's dirty. It's not in bad shape though, but what I really dislike about this microwave is it's not ducted. So what you get is a ton of grease. And actually, if you zoom in, you can even see grease bubbles starting to form at the bottom of the cabinet door. And it's gross. And so if I want to add longevity to the cabinet doors and keep it clean in here, I'm gonna find a model microwave that will duct out the grease and the moisture. Again, this isn't in bad shape. It kind of sucks that it's white. The the stove's white versus the stainless steel microwave and the stainless steel fridge. I might remove it. I probably will actually, but I'll clean it and I'll store it and I'll use it in another unit that is maybe less or cheaper in a lower end market, where I don't mind if it's mismatched, or if I get lucky and find another unit that has white appliances, I can put it there. I don't need to toss it if it's still working. I do still try to save some money there. The dishwasher, I have evaluated it. It's not working super well. I will go ahead and change out the dishwasher. The hinges on all of these, if you go on Amazon, actually, you can take measurements of the hinge profile. It's a very odd profile. It's not one that you're really going to find in Home Depot or Lowe's. Put in new hinges, put in new pull handles where they're actually supposed to go. Sand and paint professionally paint all the cabinets, and it's going to look, it's going to look sharp again. I talked to my business partner, and he said that, it's only going to cost us maybe $300 to $400 or less to do the backsplash, because what we typically do is a white subway tile, which is very neutral and very clean. And, another investor might say, no, leave it. It's not failing. It's installed correctly. It's mostly professional, but we're going to go ahead and demo it. And actually, part of the reason why we decided to demo it is, if you see here, they've got a backsplash. If we pay to have this turned into granite and add that in, just the cost of this backsplash in granite is probably enough or equal to the cost of demoing and installing a backsplash. So, it just it doesn't make sense not to. So at the beginning of this video, we talked about the big five: your roof, your foundation, your plumbing, your electrical, your mechanical, which mechanical is HVAC. So as part of evaluating it, obviously not all of us most of us are probably not plumbers, so we're not going to know exactly what to look for. So what you'll do is you'll look at the tag on the water heater. It'll have a spec sheet or spec tag on it. And unfortunately with this one, it actually doesn't have date of install. Sometimes what you can do is look at the serial number, and the serial number will give you manufacturer date, and that's typically pretty close to the install date. But fortunately for us, the plumber who installed this actually wrote on here that this was installed in 2008. I believe typically water heaters don't last beyond 15 years. So this is coming close to the end of its life. Again, these systems will surprise you. I've had water heaters last for over 20 years. I've had HVACs last for over 15. But when doing our evaluation, we want to be conservative. So let's add a new water heater into our estimate in the event that we do have to change it. Hopefully it still works for a good number of years, but if it doesn't, at least you budgeted for it. Right over here, we have our mechanical closet for our air handler. And again, you do the same thing. You just look at the installation spec sheet. I'm not sure if that's actually called a spec sheet, but whatever, the sticker that they put on all of your HVAC units. And it'll give you, if it doesn't give you a manufacturer date, which this one does, it actually just says clearly date of manufacturing July 2016. You can look up the serial number or model number, and that'll give you the manufacturer date. But yeah, so this unit is from July 2016. Again, typically 10 to 15 years is the lifespan that you're going to get out of these. They can surprise you. This does look semi well maintained. It's not super dirty. You could also look at your filter, and it's dirty, but it's not horrendous. So someone probably regularly changed this out. The coils might need a cleaning, but it wasn't. You can kind of use this to determine whether or not it was abused or not. It's not a foolproof method, but these are like the best ways that you can evaluate without being a professional HVAC tech or a professional plumber. you're going to have to do some of your own due diligence. You're not going to have the bandwidth to bring a plumber out here or bring an HVAC tech out here every time. And if you're trying to do a quick valuation, these are the things that you can do. The last thing, your electric is usually never going to go bad unless there's some units that are known to catch on fire. I think it's American Federal or something Federal that they're known to catch fires. But beyond that, what I might look for here is, hey, how many additional breaker spots do I have? I have 2. I'm also going to cancel the mini split, so then that's going to bring me 2 more, because two more spots were taken from the mini split. It's nice to have a little bit more space here in the event that we're going to do what we're doing now. In bedrooms, we might need to have a little bit more space here. Adding bedrooms, adding a bathroom, we might need to have some extra breaker spaces. But again, typically your electric is going to be good for the life of the house.